Software-defined wide area networking is a technology that allows the centralized management of routing in a network. Fundamentally, that's all it does. It can be a great way to increase the efficiency of certain size networks, but it's not inherently more secure, and it's not always needed in every network. For example, if you're a small organization, or if your offices are physically close to each other and you access most of your applications locally, you probably won't benefit a lot from SD-WAN in comparison to a massive global organization. But yeah, SD-WAN is really good for businesses that use a lot of remote resources like AWS or Salesforce or Outlook. And SD-WAN can bring technologies like encryption or packet inspection to your network. SD-WAN also makes your network super easy to manage and configure. That's because it can be done through a centralized control plane. Though really the number one reason why people use SD-WAN is to improve reliability in their network. And that happens by automatically rerouting traffic in case of link failures or congestion or other connectivity issues. And that's really why it's popular. It's for efficient and flexible routing within a network. SD-WAN can tag packets with specific headers or identifiers that indicate how the packet should be treated. Typically, at least 2 channels are created and kept separate. One for control signals and one for the network data. So the control plane handles the logic and the policies that govern the flow of the data, and it decides how and where the data should be routed through the network. The data plane involves the actual hardware that the data travels on, so it handles the data moving across the network, across network devices, and the connectivity between these devices. But it doesn't make decisions about routing. That's the job of the control plane. So the control plane is centralized. And that means it can be managed from a single point, usually through a software interface that allows administrators to configure policies. Another benefit of that is all the work can be done to configure your network from a single location rather than needing to SSH into individual appliances and configure policies and different routes manually. Another important feature of SD-WAN is that it's application aware, and that means SD-WAN can identify the type of application and where the traffic is coming from. It can then apply policies that are tailored to that specific application's needs. SD-WAN then has the ability to change routes on the fly based on link quality or maybe a specific policy set by the business. And it does this by using dynamic path selection to analyze the performance of routes between a source and destination, like one router to another or from a user to an application in the cloud. So SD-WAN will look at latency, it will look at jitter, it will look at packet loss, and it will use this information together to decide what the optimal path is for each type of traffic. For example, voice over IP or VoIP traffic is time sensitive, so it will be routed over the path with the lowest latency to ensure that the voice call is clear and is uninterrupted. But for something like a big file transfer, SD-WAN could use a different path that has maybe a higher bandwidth, even if the latency is worse. So it would take less time to download or upload the large file, for example. Unlike traditional ISP routing, which uses BGP or OSPF protocols, which focus mainly on IP addresses and other metrics like the hop count to do the routing, SD-WAN will dynamically adjust so it can react proactively to changes in network conditions. Also, in ISP networks, generally there's no control over the connection between their router and the one sitting in your office. This is also sometimes known as the last mile. So if there's an issue in the last mile, ISPs can't automatically do anything to fix or detect any issues. While generally in an SD-WAN deployment, there is an edge device that can monitor this last mile. And if there's multiple egress points to get to the internet from your office, for example, you might have a fiber connection and a 5G connection, the SD-WAN device can select the best path for the traffic before it's even left your office. So to summarize, I think SD-WAN is a great technology that allows businesses to communicate more efficiently and more reliably. Fundamentally, SD-WAN is a technology for optimizing WANs, so it doesn't provide any more security to the traffic already going across your network. However, SD-WAN is commonly paired with encryption, and it can integrate really well with other cloud security solutions. One integration like this is called SASE, or Security as a Service Edge Solutions, and they can bring things like next generation firewalls, intrusion prevention systems, data loss prevention, to SD-WAN technology. I think the best example of a SASE solution with a focus on SD-WAN technology at the moment is either Cato Networks or Cloudflare. Cato were the first to do a single vendor SASE platform, and in my opinion, they're still the most mature vendor in this sector. I'll put a link in the description to Cato and Cloudflare's SASE solutions if you want to read more about them. And if you have any questions or want to discuss how SD-WAN can benefit your business, please feel free to reach out to my email listed below. Thank you for watching.